Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.
Welcome to Kalamazoo Lively Arts, the show that takes you inside Kalamazoo's vibrant creative community and explores the people who breathe life into the arts. On today's show, we'll be exploring the idea of placemaking, or the reimagining of public spaces for the health, happiness, and well-being of the community. We'll learn about the Parks and Recreation Department's Lunchtime Live series, as well as the Kalamazoo Transformation Coalition. But first, we hear from the nonprofit organization Read and Write Kalamazoo about how they are making language arts both fun and impactful.
Here with Emily Kastner from Read and Write Kalamazoo. Read and Write Kalamazoo rocks. That's your little, what is that, an acronym?
Right, for Read and Write Kalamazoo we call it ROCK.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about what Read and Write Kalamazoo is and how it came to be.
We're a nonprofit here in Kalamazoo that's devoted to cultivating reading and writing skills for youth, pre-K through high school. And we do this via creative writing workshops and reading themed events in and out of schools.
And you've got a big move happening to the Vine neighborhood. Yeah,
so right now, currently, we've been in the Reality Factory over on East Frank Street, and so our new space is heading back into the Vine, and so yeah, we're building out. It's going to be a full multilingual literacy center with a storefront that really serves students in so many fun new ways.
Okay, so what are we going to learn? I got to tell you, I'm already nervous.
Oh, no, don't be nervous, don't be nervous. This is going to be fun.
Okay.
So today we're going to do blackout poetry. And so oftentimes as writers, staring at a blank page is intimidating, right?
Scary.
And you don't know where to start, even if you're given a theme or whatever. So blackout poetry is so fun. You just take anything. So like this is our program, one of our program flyers. And the thing is, you get your Sharpie to pick your words, but here's how it's gonna work. On your paper, this is like your word bank, and these are the words you have to choose from. So you're gonna go through and create a poem using these words in the order, but then you can take them and put them into lines of poetry as you see fit.
And a poem doesn't have to rhyme, right?
No.
Okay.
No, poems can be whatever you want them to be. So, you know, we've got tons of different like magazines and options. We've given you a short story.
Yes.
So you're gonna go through, I've given an example. So you go through, X out the words that you don't want to use, or if it's like an ending of a word, you can cross that out, and then you're gonna put it over here on your paper into your poem. So, for example, from our flyer, the beginning of my poem is read and exist, grow and learn, offer community, secret summer trips in the year ahead. See, it doesn't always have to make sense, but that's the beginning of a poem,
That makes sense. I'm scared. Okay.
No, don't be scared.
When you think about it, like little kids, preschoolers, they have all these stories and they freely tell them. Do you experience that as well with Read and Write Kalamazoo?
Yeah, so that's our youngest set. So we serve preschoolers. We have this workshop called Build and Write, where preschoolers come with their adults, and we just really foster an experience for them to be creative, to build characters, and to build settings, and then they tell the stories to their adults. So it's really about like celebrating storytelling as soon as kids can talk.
Yeah, because you don't want them to lose that.
Right.
You know, my mom unlocked it for me, you know, to be able to write and to read. When you get a kid coming in here, or kids coming in here for the first time, where do you begin to unlock that for them?
It starts with that safe environment. So, you know, we are all on the same page, we're like getting to know each other, and this small group is safe, and we kind of set some group norms, like what this looks like to write and to share, and you know, that we're not, it's a judgment-free area, that we're just like, you know, we're going to be writing, we're going to be reading, and we're going to be sharing, and let's all agree that, you know, we're going to be good listeners.
Yeah.
As far as our activities and our curriculum and our programs, we, it's about that energy, that excitement excitement and letting students take the driver's seat of like what they want to write about and what they want to read. And students want to write stories that, you know, are honest and about their lives, that they feel they can access their authentic voice, and they want to read stories that they connect with. You know, they want to see themselves reflected in stories, whether it be what their families look like, you know, how they identify culturally. Like, they want to read these stories and then they're going to write those stories. Writing poetry can happen wherever. It doesn't have to happen in schools. It doesn't just happen in our workshops or our programs.
Of this. This was hard, but it does twist your brain up, you know? I saw on your website, Jamara, you said that was a little girl, right?
Yeah.
And she said, I like to write because you get to express your feelings and you get to be creative in it, and you can write in someone else's perspective. That is
Right.
so important.
It is, and in building like empathy and really understanding like the value of that in our society, writing and reading is like the gateway to that, right?
Yeah.
So it is fun to find your authentic voice and then to get fun and experimental with it and to put yourself in someone else's shoes, or to read a story about someone who's not like yourself.
So how does this program come to be? I mean, do you have sponsors? Is there a charge for kids to be able to come?
So we were so excited. So August of 2017, we've announced what we call Rock On, Youth Rocks Free. So all of our programs are now at no cost to students, addressing equity and access in our community and wanting nothing to hinder students from having these experiences with writing and reading outside of school and even in school. And we are grateful to be in this community that really supports, you know, the arts.
Okay, I think I've got this.
Excited.
I think you're going to be happy with it.
Of course I will.
Do you want to hear it?
I would love to hear it. I'm
Okay.
so excited.
Okay. Early morning, in the country, dark pine shadows, the still air, a solitary little bird, a golden color, quivering in the thicket, the woods deep and still. Early morning in the country.
I love that you found that repetition in there. That's all. See? And you were scared.
I was scared.
No,
because
that's
you know,
exciting.
it's taking that first step.
It is.
It's just trying, and I'm thinking when I get to the end, I'm like, how am I going to make this all make sense to come full
Right.
circle again?
Right, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, what we love.
I gotta have it make sense.
Right. And what we love about this is, you know, students, the youth we work with, are playing with words or playing with language. It's fun and exciting. And really, I mean, you got it.
It's a new skill.
Your poem is a different thing than that story started with.
Completely,
And
right?
that's so exciting. Yeah. Thanks for doing that.
Thanks for letting me open up my brain.
I love it. Thank you.
Who says lunch has to be boring? Kalamazoo's Parks and Recreation Department is working to change that with their Lunchtime Live series at Bronson Park. Let's take a look.
Okay, so we're here at Lunchtime Live in Bronson Park, beautiful Bronson Park, tons of people here. And is this your first time coming to Lunchtime Live?
Yes, it's our very first time, and my granddaughter wants to play the violin, so I wanted her to come and see how they play and some of the music that they play, because I knew she'd love it.
Well, I loved it. I loved watching your dance. You've got some rhythm. Is that going to be you one day up on their stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see your eyes light up. And is this the big brother?
Yes, it is Big Brother.
And are you a musical guy too?
No. Not so much, no.
I'm here with Sean Fletcher, Parks and Recreation Director for Kalamazoo. Thanks so much for talking today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Well, this city's on fire. I can feel it. There's an electricity. There are things that are popping up that other cities don't even have the opportunity or the means to be able to do. But I've heard the term kind of floating around. Is it space making?
Placemaking?
Placemaking?
So placemaking really talks about different activities, maybe in non-traditional venues that help define the community. So Lunchtime Live is a great example of that. You take an existing park, you have a program that happens in that space that attracts people, and it creates that sense of place for the community. And different activities in the community are part of the reason people may choose to live in a certain community, and we want to help make Kalamazoo a better place, if you will.
Enjoying the music, the Moxie strings are playing. Is this your first time here?
No, this is my third time. I'm enjoying it, and I brought my friend.
How would you describe the atmosphere, the people, the music?
It's more of a community feel. So it's a good feeling, you know, just kind of seeing people that you haven't seen in a while, or noticing, you know, children playing and stuff like that for the summer. It's great.
Can I ask you, what brought you back to Lunchtime Live?
Well, I like the music, I like the atmosphere, just seeing everybody look happy. It's just a joyful time to be here, and this is what brought me back. And plus, bringing my friend also.
It's a nice little escape, right?
Absolutely.
So when you have like the bands come in, it's a great opportunity for them, right?
Yeah, and I know that people have approached the stage to get a musician's card to say, hey, you were great, or, you know, buy their CD, or, hey, you know, do you do other events? I mean, we know that kind of stuff happens, so just, I think from an exposure standpoint, it's good. The Moxie strings are kind of out there. They're a rising, you know, star, if you will, and, you know, we're going to keep having them back as long as we can afford them.
There's got to be an impact socially, culturally, you know, financially. How does that all come into play?
Yeah, so I have a 6-year-old daughter, and we go to Lunchtime Live when she's around. And, you know, just to see her kind of go off and engage and meet kids that she's never met before. They may toss the cornhole bags around, they may get engaged in a game, and that wouldn't have happened without the event. The economics of, you know, the food trucks being able to generate, you know, income and local, you know, spending local dollars with local vendors has a huge impact on our community. There's a lot of value in having those events in the community, and it goes back to that, creating that sense of place and placemaking.
I saw you sitting over there enjoying the music. Is this your first time here at Bronson Park for Lunchtime Live?
No, actually, the whole time that it's been going, we've missed one day.
Wow. And what brings you down? I mean, you work downtown, right?
I work down here. It's a fun thing to do on a Friday for lunch. It's the beginning of the weekend. The food is awesome, and there's lots of people down here, and usually the entertainment is pretty awesome as well.
So how important do you think this is to the community?
It's kind of everybody coming down here. You see older people, you see kids, you see people like me that work here, professionals. It's just a really cool thing to do on a Friday, and I think it's awesome for the community.
Do you go back feeling a little rejuvenated?
Oh, definitely. The sunshine and the fresh air, yeah, definitely is something that helps us get back to the grindstone at 1 o'clock or whenever and get through the end of the day.
It's kind of the perfect way to start off your weekend, right?
Oh, for sure.
I'm curious, how do you decide on the musicians who's going to play?
We try and have a diversity among, you know, some acoustical, some amplified sound, some different instruments, you know, trying to keep it local whenever possible. Sometimes, you know, we've had a couple people that they've gone on and done great, and we can no longer afford them, but that's okay.
Yeah,
you know, if we kind of help them get that start and get moving up in the right direction, we're okay with that.
Kalamazoo Lunchtime Live!
The Kalamazoo Transformation Coalition was formed in June 2017 as a way to bring community members and nonprofit organizations together to collaborate, communicate, and cooperate in order to alleviate poverty in Kalamazoo. We sit down with Nicholas Baxter to learn more about this unique idea.
This Kalamazoo Transformation Coalition, that's a mouthful.
It is.
Congratulations. What a cool concept. What is that concept?
So the idea is to foster collaboration, communication, and cooperation amongst nonprofit organizations in Kalamazoo. So we currently house a few nonprofit organizations that use the space as office space and also meeting space. So it's a huge building. But another kind of end of this entire coalition is to be able to foster this communication between all of the various, I think there's just 800 nonprofit organizations and churches in Kalamazoo.
Will the concept of art be an underlying theme?
Absolutely, absolutely. I am an artist, so I'm a musician and a poet, and also with visual photography. So I see this space being for events. We have concerts going on which are benefit concerts for refugee orchestras. We have the ability to host musicians. We have the ability to have poetry readings, and it's such an old, historic place. And if we go into the sanctuary, just the resonance of it, the spirit of the place is just amazing. And I think that in itself it's really representative of the idea of this communication between nonprofit organizations, telling stories and allowing people to learn from those stories. And I also think it provides space for citizens of Kalamazoo to really tell their individual stories too.
So here we are, the sanctuary, where things happen in a lot of different ways. But you use this, for events, benefits, and more?
Yeah, so one of the ways in which I became associated with this coalition was to be able to find a space for refugee orchestra to play. And so we actually do benefit concerts for this amazing nonprofit organization in the area so they can maintain their space. Other ways in which it's used, they do the Sacred Music Festival here. So it's another nonprofit organization dedicated to sacred music around the world. And I think they've been in operation for 20 years or so.
What's the sound like in here?
Oh, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, yeah. And so this is one of the oldest sanctuaries in Kalamazoo. The church itself was built in 1836. And I mean, it's incredible. It really is.
Let's dig a little bit into the deep theme, I think, that is being offered here, this theme of a social change, perhaps?
Yeah, we see a lot of needs in the community. We really do. And as deep as poverty runs, there are many different facets of governmental aid or community aid that allow people kind of resources to overcome poverty, but it still exists. It still persists. And we're just trying to create a space in which people can communicate about those issues and be able to really, really activate all of the resources that are available, and in a huge fashion, like not just being individual entities doing many different things, but being one entity moving towards one focus point.
Well, here we are in the Clo Room. What happens in the Clo Room? Another stage for us.
Yes, we actually have a lot of theater organizations in the area that can actually use this stage for theater performances. The ballet organization upstairs has used it for performances. We have community dinners here, so we have a gigantic vegan feast that takes place once a month. And it's also used as a food pantry for Kalamazoo Loaves and Fishes. So they assemble a huge kind of like shopping section right over here so that they can give food to community members.
What's it feel like?
It's amazing, it's amazing. This is actually where it all started too. So this is where the first meeting to kind of brainstorm what we wanted to go into this space came. And when you have good people collected in the area, especially if there's good food for like the vegan feast or something, it's just a really great experience.
How did this come into your life as far as seeing this vision, chasing this dream?
It all has to do through music. Like I began my arts career at the age of 12 playing drums, and when I am from Jackson, Michigan, I came to Kalamazoo to study. And it was like as soon as I landed in this city, it was like, people speaking different languages on campus, people playing music and being accepted, venues for musicians, So, and through that, and through my activity as an artist, I met all of these people who are also artists, but they also wear this other hat of community activist. Using your art to be able to explain something or being able to educate people in an artistic fashion about things that are going on in the world. And it's just so inspirational to be able to see that and to watch these people on stage really kind of like tearing off layers of themselves, being able to express themselves. And also, during the day, going out and seeing them volunteering or working with foster youth. It's really through the inspiration of my artistic colleagues, in a way, that I really took it upon myself to act in this manner.
Why support the arts in Kalamazoo?
Man, oh, wow, that's a loaded question. That really is. So, for kind of personal allegory, I've seen myself process trauma and tragedy through art. Like it's really transformed the way I look at the world because of the way in which I've been able to express myself. And I think that's why you need to support the arts, because it's invigorating, it's rejuvenating. Like there's just a quality about art, whether it be music or poetry or visual arts, that is relatable with human beings. Like I think we all communicate in such various ways, but when you look at a piece of art or you listen to a piece of art, it's like you're really connected. And I think that in itself, if it's supported, if it's nourished, like it's incredibly powerful.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Kalamazoo Lively Arts. Next week, we visit a singer, sculptor, and poet, each making their mark in the community. We leave you tonight with a performance by the instrumental fusion trio, the Moxie Strings, at Bronson Park for Lunchtime Live. I'm Jennifer Moss. Have a great night.
Fritz Smiger, everybody, I guess. Hopefully there's more than that. Let's see what else you got.
Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.